Let
So
me, yeah.
let me just pull that up. Let me pull up the paper tool.
So I think tomorrow you have off, right? Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Just checking. Okay. So we'll have our presentation, hopefully, to the person who's going to help us file for the patent. So let's see. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So also just like a little thing I did fix
Hmm.
the pain tree in short form. I wanted to show you. I added the pain scale. I didn't know if I should do a what do you say? The what is it labeled as? The slider because
Hmm.
on the document you shared with me, they had it as like you can like you click one button, so I just put it like that. And
Hmm.
then I changed the instruction also like a little bit at the bottom of the PDF. It had like specifically if you have an online application, this is the things that you can write. So I just put that exactly. But yeah, so I
Okay.
fixed this. And then moving on to the outline for the this paper, Digital Health and Self-Management, Idiopathic Inflammatory Myopathies, a Missed Opportunity. So abstract was just first overview of the study, introduction of digital self-management in IIMs. And they said that they aim to explore the effectiveness of digital healthcare strategies in improving symptoms, functionality, and quality of life. And then a summary of the methodology and key findings and highlights the gap in literature. And their key findings, like well, what they saw was there were not many randomized control trials or observational studies, or none actually, found addressing digital self-management IAMs. And then they were kind of emphasizing further research to integrate self-management interventions into IAM care. And then moving
Hmm.
on to the introduction. So, you know, this first part right here, it just explanation of IAM and its manifestations, pretty simple. And then
Hmm.
going into like the specific sections. So first section was the challenges of IAMs for health professionals and patients.
Hmm.
They had like three different points that I kind of just simplified into one sentence each. So the first point they made was skeletal muscle information in IAMs causes impaired mobility, pain, and fatigue, and these symptoms can reduce motivation to engage in healthcare and lead to irregular symptom management for
Hmm.
patients. I should have specified that.
Okay.
Um, the rarity of IAMs leads to limited treatment approaches and can contribute to misdiagnosis, delayed treatments, and limited access to specialists. And
Hmm.
restricted access to information support increases feelings of isolation and anxiety for individuals of IAMs with IAMs. And then the
So
next
if you can
section.
stop over here, right?
Mhm,
This is supposed to be like like a section, right? If you
mhm.
think about it, they've tried to address these in the rest of the paper as well. So there are
Yeah,
not a lot of ideas. It's few ideas that they've reinforced over the, course of the paper, right? That's
yeah,
something that I want you to, notice and learn. Okay, go ahead.
yeah. The next section was digital healthcare and self-management IAMs promising solution. So just overall, kind of was in that entire section was rise of mobile health application and telehealth solutions in managing chronic conditions. That's something they mentioned, and the potential of digital tools to improve tracking and patient engagement. That was like just this, not this,
Okay.
like this kind of section right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then going into like the subsections. So the tailored treatment plan subsection, it talked about the importance of customizing interventions to match individual patient needs and the role of patient data in refining treatment approaches. Then remote monitoring and adherence. Use of they kind of talked about the use of wearables, telehealth for continuous tracking of symptoms, and then the benefits of real-time feedback and improved adherence to treatments, so that if patients are more involved, like over they were saying like over like digitally, patients were seen to stick to their treatment plans better. And then moving on to symptom management, talked about mobile applications can enable patients to monitor flare-ups and disease progression, and digital platforms can provide tools for pain management and daily activity tracking. And then the education and empowerment section, kind of talking about the role of digital platforms in increasing patient knowledge about IAMs. and this can empower patients to take an active role in their health through accessible resources. And then
Mm-hmm.
moving on to communication and collaboration. This, one of the main points is that it can increase the interaction between patients and their healthcare providers. They kind of talked about, COVID-19, how people were like Zoom calls, for example, people were meeting with their doctors. And then also talked about the use of teleconsultation, patient portals, and social media for efficient communication. And then moving on
Mm-hmm.
to long-term planning, digital tools. They talk about digital tools facilitating long-term disease management and future planning. And then they also talk about supporting patients in setting and tracking healthcare goals. And
Mm-hmm.
then moving on to the limitations of digital healthcare section. So these are just a couple of the things that I saw that they were talking about: accessibility and digital literacy, talk about barriers relating to technological access and varying levels of digital literacy among patients, data privacy and security. So, there are some concerns in relation to like protecting patient data and then like, just secure management of health information, integration into
Mm-hmm.
routine. There may be some challenges in integrating digital solutions into existing healthcare workflows. And then evidence
Mm-hmm.
gap, the lack of clinical trials. This is like also something they mentioned before: lack of clinical trials and observational studies evaluating the efficacy of digital self-management IAMs. And then moving on to discussion, 1 point progress in digital healthcare for other rheumatic diseases. So they talked about the success of digital self-management strategies in osteoarthritis and inflammatory arthritis. And then, this kind of vague, but lessons that can be applied to IAM care. Current gaps in
Mm-hmm.
IAM research, acknowledgement of the absence of targeted self-management interventions for IAMs, emphasis on the need for patient-centric digital tools, and then like future directions, call for randomized controlled trials and observational studies to validate the effectiveness of digital intervention, and then development of comprehensive digital platforms addressing the full spectrum of IAM care. And then
Mm-hmm.
moving on to the conclusion, they talked about recognition of unmet needs, which we like they were just kind of just repeating um, the gap in self-management strategies for IAMs. And then they were acknowledging the potential for digital tools to help bridge this gap. And then finally, it was kind of just a call to action, just saying, urging the prioritization of digital healthcare IAMs, and then the importance of continued innovation, integration, and research of digital solutions into standard care practice.
Okay,
That's
got
it.
it. That's good. So, what are the things that there are so many aspects that we can take from this
Mm-hmm.
paper and then we can integrate into our paper, right? Can you
Mm-hmm.
take and highlight those aspects for me?
Yeah. Um, I
Do you
remember.
have the next draft as well?
Yeah,
Like, did
that's
you make?
over here.
Okay. Okay, got it. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can go over
so
this and I'll
yeah,
tell
the
you.
highlighted parts are still parts that I need to work on, but everything else. Oh, why does it keep on closing?
Mhm.
Yeah, so from what I made new, just
Mhm.
basically this section would be first part of overview would just be about like the tests. And this is, I know you mentioned that, we need to talk specifically about functional tests, and that the definition important of functional test of myositis would be that section where we would talk about which are
Mhm.
like are the current functional tests, what they are, etc., how they are used. And then
Mhm. And
after
for
that,
that, you're gonna reference those two papers that you made tables for.
yes, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And then here you also mentioned that you wanted like specifics to stand test section, so that's what this is. Um,
Hmm.
just specifically important myositis to track just like a little, I just like a little blurb that I wrote.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
I think it'd be important to put like limitations because our software is going to address these limitations.
Okay.
Um, this important, yeah, this is stuff was already there. And what I did was I combined the software integration and clinical tools with the benefits section. I kind of just described the benefits within this section. So first it'd
Hmm.
be the overall integration of digital health technologies. So wearable devices, smartphone and sensors enables continuous remote monitoring of patients, providing more frequent consistent assessments. I was thinking here maybe mention like current practices.
Yeah,
I have,
those are
so I
the
have some.
current practices.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like
Hmm.
current like the specific ones, like I'm. first thing that comes to mind. I know there was like that paper that was talking about the Amazon Halo movement,
Mhm.
and then features of software integrated tools. So, wrong thing. This was where I in like put like the benefits too. So real-time data analysis would be like software tools allow for the continuous monitoring of myositis patients. Real-time data can be analyzed for accuracy, providing immediate feedback to both patients and clinicians and helping track disease progression. Then then I moved on to symptom management and self-management technologies. And this was one of the points that I got from oh, the paper that I
Mhm.
wanted to include. And I wrote
Mhm.
that digital tools can improve communication between patients and clinicians, leading to collaboration managing symptoms. Wearables and apps
Mhm.
track muscle strength, physical activity, and overall function, aiding in patient self-management.
Mhm.
And another benefit was like the remote monitoring. Automated assessments reduce clinician time spent on data collection, allowing for faster, more consistent monitoring. And continuous data collection can also help to detect disease progression early, allowing for timely interventions.
Yep.
Um,
And
this
can you
is
stop over there? Go back and then tell me of these software integration in clinical. You have said features of software integrated tools. Tell me the difference between the 3 points and what is the one point that you feel is very important for our paper?
mm, isn't it just like it the gosh, people don't have to go in person. The clinicians don't have to sit and watch people take the test.
Okay. That's the highlight, right?
Yeah,
So
I was like,
for that, what are you have told me three different things
mhm.
over here. So in this, which do you think is most relevant to our paper? All are
Probably
relevant,
probably just like
right?
the remote monitoring part.
Yes. So that's the
So,
most relevant, right? Now you tell me, why did you answer that to be the most relevant?
because remote monitoring allows for people to not have to go to the doctor's office for a clinician to sit and watch it and then, input the data, all of that. Software integration kind of just cuts all that down to we're gonna the patient can record it. The software will record the data, input the data, so then the clinician can just go over it and be like, okay, this is what was seen, this is what's happening, and then
Mhm.
tell the patient this is what we can do from like moving on in regarding to their treatment.
Okay. So that is one thing. And then what's the difference between the third and the second point?
Third, all right. Um, symptom management, self-manage. Mm, I mean, I actually don't even think there's probably too much of a difference. I think this one is more focusing on like
Mhm.
patients, whereas this one is more focusing on like clinician, like the benefits for clinicians. But these two could
Mhm.
probably be combined.
So who's going to read your review? Are
Clinicians,
clinicians going? Yep.
yeah,
So what should your communication target towards?
the clinicians make.
Yes. So that should be on first, and then this can be a sub point that how it's going to benefit your patients. And when you say like feature, right, you need to particularly say like what feature.
Mhm,
When you say real-time data analysis, there was going to be an aspect where the patient is going to come to visit you early
mhm.
if there's something going wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Then, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is just something I want to expand upon a bit more. Um, so I have to do that. Literature review, I have to expand upon that a bit more. And then for criteria for tool selection, it would be only tools that have been clinically validated or user friendly and improve the accuracy and efficiency of assessments will be considered. And then comparison of software versus traditional tools. So, you know, comparison will be made between traditional clinician-led assessments and software integrated tools, focusing on accuracy, efficiency, and patient outcomes. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, this
So how
section
many
has
papers will you end up with if you do that? Zero, because there's no studies, right? In myositis.
Oh, that's true.
which have done that. No, I don't want you to
Yeah.
remove it. I'm just telling
Mhm.
you that's what you're going to end up
Yeah.
with. So,
I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, they mentioned that in this paper. I think that's a little, it's, I mean, it's a good point to
yeah,
include.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then this part here, I still have to expand upon. But other than that,
Okay.
that's what I did today.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. And I would say, uh, just shifting the focus
Hmm.
towards how we are going to present it is something that we will need to focus on today. And then going back to the sit to stand, right? Can you go further top?
Yeah.
So we'll discuss one by one. So today we had to focus on the sit to stand thing, right? So
Hmm.
we'll try to go over that. Now you tell me, you have mentioned like, so I would rather have you give me like bullet points of what the sentences are going to be rather than, make the sentences, right?
Hmm.
Because that's easier and that's something that you can follow. Then the other thing is you need to think about the story that you're trying to say over here. With the other disease, the osteoarthritis, you have an example of what they did and what they had written, right? So that should be brought up over here and told, hey, they did it over there, and then this is how we can implement in our condition, right? Think of a table. See, what helped you the most was I told you there are two papers, and
Hmm.
I told you there's a difference between the two papers, and I told you
Hmm.
find out the difference,
Hmm.
right? And you found out. Now, this is myositis, the other one is osteoarthritis. In osteoarthritis, sit to stand has been validated, right?
Hmm.
Now, what is the difference between sit to stand in osteoarthritis versus sit to stand in myositis,
Okay.
right? That should
Yeah.
be your table for this content. Okay. Now you say that, hey, in osteoarthritis, they have validated it. And
Hmm.
let us break down why how it worked, right? It could be they have kept a target of 5 times the patient has to
Yeah.
sit and stand. Right
Hmm.
here, 30 seconds is considered to be the threshold. And how many times you count. So there is a difference, right? And then you explain that, hey, that is the reason why nothing has been done.
Hmm.
You can use the same software and, implement the counts because
Hmm.
all you're doing is counting and it looks like that can count as well. And then you go to the result of that paper and say that, hey, of 400 people that they took, it was reliable in 95, 98%,
Hmm.
right? So that is how you build your narrative. Makes sense? So when it
Yeah.
comes to limitations, I would not focus that much on limitation, right? I would just see this limitation, I'll tell you. It is wrong. Can you tell me why?
Load up. Subject to the entire analysis. Um, is it like the subjectivity and timing part?
No.
Reliance on clinicians' direct presence, because our whole thing is that you don't need a clinician present.
Yep. Yep.
Mm. Yeah, I think when I wrote this, I was talking about like the current
The
limitation
actual
of it.
stand. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. No, I understood. I was just telling you that, hey, in this component, what are you trying to do over here, right? You need to write about how, again, it should be in line with your theme of the paper. And
Hmm.
what's that theme? It's like, hey, how do I use technology over here,
Yeah.
right? And even if you say that, hey, I'm taking away from pen and paper into something very simple,
Hmm.
right? That's what you do. That's what you state. And then so that is one point. See, we need to think about what are the very simple high level points that we are making in our paper, right? And every limitation that the other paper has pointed out, saying why there are no observational studies. If someone reads this paper, they should get inspired to do an observational study.
Yeah.
right? And they're like, hey, see, that they didn't tell you how to do, what to do. They just told you should do,
Mm-hmm.
right? Here, we need to either say what to do or how to do. Okay? Now I'll tell you a very simple how to do. See,
Mm-hmm.
how many physicians or how many teams will have a software developer?
I don't, maybe not many.
Not many.
Yeah.
How many hospitals will have red cap? Many.
Okay.
100
Yeah.
countries use red cap. 100,
Yeah. Then a
right?
lot. Yeah.
That's a lot, right? So it's
Yeah.
very accessible.
Mhm.
Now, if you say that, hey, you can have a red cap app which will collect the video and I can analyze that video, that is as good as counting.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can implement it.
Yeah.
That's what you need to put over here.
Okay.
How you integrate. So the theme should be, how do you integrate easily accessible technology to make something happen?
Okay.
And it's secure,
Yeah.
right? So that's the theme for everything. Now, tell me this. Since it's going to be video, do you have to mention it for each test, or do you have to mention it in the first general part before you go into each test?
Mm, just like the first general part.
Yep. So that you set the theme, saying that, hey, this is possible, and then you go into details. Because that is possible and it is accessible, this becomes enabled. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the second part you're enabling? That, hey, you have a way to collect videos,
Yeah.
right? And you can run it through a very simple code. That's it. And don't even say run it through a code. Just say that it is possible.
Yeah.
So again, if just say technology possible, end of story. Or you have a person sit and count. Very simple. If you hire a high school student and you ask them count the number of times this person got up and sat down, they will do it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Simple. So, anyways, that's one aspect. Then the second aspect was so that's how you write this section. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to understand from you, were there only sit to stand and time up and go as function tests?
Okay, let me pull mine up. No, I mean, there's more. I just like wrote like
You just
such as to, but there's obviously
okay.
more that we would talk about.
Yes. So again, they're not a lot, right? So you need to
Yeah.
mention everything. And
Mm-hmm.
if you describe each, and that would be good enough.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So can you go down
Yes.
now? Given this feedback, I want you to go to their review, the one, and then I want you that outline and highlight what are you going to take from their paper.
Wait.
And what you did, you were like, hey, they had written 4 sentences and I made it 1 sentence, right?
Yeah.
So that's called rephrasing, and that you can
Mhm.
include in your paper. But you should not cite the review paper. You should cite the original paper that they have cited. Okay?
Okay. So if they just didn't cite anything on their paper, could we just cite their paper then?
Yes.
Okay.
So generally, see why I would cite their paper. They are telling you should do something in digital, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be accessible to the patient and it should be digital. For that, if that when that is your conclusion or one of the paragraphs in your discussion, that's when you cite the review.
Mm-hmm.
These are panel of experts, and they told that this is what you need to focus on, and then that is the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Go down to the review outline. Are you there? Because it's not moving.
Yeah, I had it paused so I could keep my notes open too.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
this is their outline starting. I think with this.
Highlight in yellow for me what you would take from it.
Mm,
The abstract is fine, abstract will come back to later. Oh, you didn't go to the good, you didn't go to the abstract. Go to the
oh,
intro.
yeah. Okay, so introduction, challenges or IAMs, digital healthcare management. So I remember last time we talked, we already had a couple points. There was a part of this section that was relevant.
Hmm.
I think what else was it? Let me actually go up. Digital remote monitoring and adherence, symptom management, communication and collaboration.
Okay.
I think maybe part of this one, the I think the section where it was talking about the use of it for continuous tracking, and then this whole like improved adherence part is not. I don't think it's really relevant.
Let me ask you this. This was a question that we
Mhm.
had, faced and asked. People who track their disease, are they more likely to stick to your treatment?
I would say so.
So the people who don't track their disease are mostly people who don't stick to your treatment. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, if I have a group of patients who stuck to their wearable devices or disease monitoring thing, what there is a bias, right? That they are going to take my treatment.
Hmm.
Do you understand? So
Hmm.
the group is going to be different. Now let's say I take another group. These are group of people, everyone who visits me, who is under my care. That is going to involve some group where they might not be on any of the monitoring devices. And they are
Yeah.
the ones who you would expect to not likely stick to your treatment adherence.
Hmm.
You cannot check that because they might not visit you as well. Does make
Yeah.
sense? So
Yeah.
how you define who your cohort is going to make a difference, right?
Mhm.
Anyways, that's not the point. So if you say that, hey, what is now the point that you should make is wearable, etc., 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 is additional burden that someone has to bear,
Yeah.
right? But this is just a simple app on your phone,
Hmm.
and it's very affordable.
Yeah, I think just this right here, telehealth for continuous tracking.
See, but telehealth is different, right?
Mhm.
So when you say like remote monitoring and adherence, those are two different things.
Yeah.
So are you saying that, hey, because you are doing remote monitoring, the adherence to your treatment increases?
Mm, no, it's not like the point we're trying to make.
So it's not the point that you're trying to make, but that's a very good point. That's why
Hmm.
I'm telling you that, hey,
Oh.
if you are making the patient monitor something, their adherence is going to go up,
Hmm.
right? That is a possibility, right?
Yeah.
Let's
I
say
think
they
that
have a
kind of,
visit. Mhm.
yeah, sorry. I was just trying to say that I think that kind of relates to how like if you're doing like the in-person like checkups and the in-person test, one of the points was that you're gonna have irregular assessments because, maybe you can't find an appointment that fits your schedule. So
Mhm.
I think the remote monitoring will, combat that. And if people are able to do it on their own time, they're more likely to do it.
Yeah. The other thing that you need to think about is this is also myositis, right? It
Hmm.
is the more severe the disease is, the more likely they're going to be adherent to your treatment, right? Imagine if
Yeah.
you're in a lot of pain, you are going to take treatment.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? So you need, so that's something, I mean, it's a good point. I would keep it because it's self-monitoring and that comes under that, right? So you can make a point of adherence.
Mhm.
It's a very valid point because that's the point that I was going to make.
Yeah. Mhm.
See, the tailor treatment plans, tell me about that.
Mm, yeah, I think this in general is kind of was just talking about when you're able to do it. I have to go back. Tailor importance of customizing digital individual's patient needs for patient data and finding treatment. Yeah, so I think the whole point of this one was just saying that if you're able to do it um kind of online or digitally, it's e it's like easy, not easier. How do I say that? I guess it could say that it's yeah, maybe I could say it's like easier when it comes to changing or adapting treatment plans because and this like relates to how the early detection point because early detection you're able to change the treatment plan accordingly to how the disease is progressing.
Mhm.
I think oh actually let me just read the actual thing.
I have to get on call with Pawan and I have to tell him to analyze that data set for me quickly before his course starts. I need that data. It's too much of coding and I'm not able to do it. That's what I was thinking for some reason. I don't know why it was stuck in my head.
Yeah. Wait, so this sentence right here, the technology can help to collect data on individual symptoms to tailor interventions. So it's just like data collection, essentially, because if you can just collect the data online, instead of having to manually collect it, manually input it, it's all online. You're able to just see it and just be like, okay, this is what the data is showing me. Let me change the plan accordingly.
That's what I asked as well, and the same issue that I had that, hey, let's say you have someone has diabetes, right?
Mhm.
And then there is benefit to tracking diabetes blood sugar at every time point, right? At some time point. Now, does it make sense to track your blood glucose levels throughout the day? That's a question that I had with respect to diabetes, right? The same thing you can apply over here that, hey, even if you have that data, do you have a different treatment option given that you have this new data?
Like
It's not a
different
question
treatment
for you. I'm
method.
just I'm just asking you to think about it, saying that, hey, let's say I have this more granular data, right? And I give it to you. And what treatment options are available or how, what are you changing in most of the cases? The answer to that is what I'm thinking is, see, yes, everyone likes more data, but if you don't have treatment options, this data is not very helpful.
Mhm.
So rather than saying that, hey, treatment plans, I understand it. It's more with respect to monitoring disease activity, right? The answer that you need to give is, hey, the patient has to visit me once a month. Let's say something goes wrong and if there is a flare up of the disease, the patient will visit me earlier. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Now, let's say not a flare up, there's a potential for a flare up, and this test is capturing that potential for flare up. Then, will I be able to ask the patient to visit me early before the flare up happens? Then only it makes sense, na? Like treatment plan.
Yeah.
I feel like, we are lost somewhere. Can you tell me what you're thinking about?
I don't know. It's just like when it how can you detect a flare-up beforehand? Like, how is
Then what's
that?
the point of doing this monitoring? What is a
Wait,
flare up,
but
right? Think about it this way. Let's say someone has diabetes, right? Their blood glucose starts getting over 200, over 200, over 200, right? And
mhm,
then you will predict that something bad is going to happen and that needs to be
yeah.
controlled.
Hmm.
Then the patient will go to the doctor. If you didn't have that blood glucose monitoring, how would you have known?
That's true. That's true. Okay, yeah, I get it.
Now it makes sense. In
Yeah.
myositis world, that's what a flare-up is.
Hmm.
You will not, how would you know? Right?
Hmm.
Now, then the question will come with respect to, hey, see, we are not going to address it in this paper, right? That's not the scope of the paper. I'm
Hmm.
just asking you, hey, when you say tailored treatment plans, aren't you giving them treatment when they're coming to your clinic or in
Yeah.
your telehealth?
Hmm.
So what does tailored treatment plan mean? Right? So see, that's a general point. It's a good
Hmm.
point. I'm just asking you, when you think one step lower, it doesn't make sense. Same question
Yeah.
I asked my mentor also. Okay, it's fine. He was also like, okay, I don't know. He's like, more data is good. That's all he told. And the other thing that he said was, rather than that, because it is a rare disease, right? You will not know the importance of this data because of very limited people having this condition, right? In future, you might come up with better tests. And how do you validate if the new test is accurate or not is based on more data that you have. So what I would put is it is helpful to go into rare disease registries.
Hmm.
That's a good point. Do you agree?
Hmm.
So we need to like move the points around, but I would still keep it, but something to think about. Because
Yeah.
even if you read what they have written, right, in their review, if you go to their review paper,
Hmm. Were you able to see it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at Taylor treatment plan.
Mm-hmm.
Self-management technology can assist health professionals in creating personalized treatment plans. The technology can help collect data on individual symptoms to tailored interventions based on individual needs. See, they're told about symptoms, not about function.
Oh. Oh.
So
Okay.
when you bring it up in our paper, you need to talk about how function can
Yeah.
assess the tailored treatment plan,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then aligned with the first category, aimed at improving approach. Can you click, can you hover over those references? Self-management PLIB. Okay, that's a general reference. Then 15th one, self-management in chronic illness. Okay, that's chronic illness again. 16th, digital health. I think that is a paper you might want to read. Or it's the same person. Can you open that paper?
Yeah.
Here she is the first author. Okay, that's good.
Yes.
So what would you do? How would you read this paper? Quickly if we are reading.
Um, just go past the abstract. There's this. So the title, digital health and muscular skeletal care, where are we heading? Obviously, I would do the title. Probably skip
Mhm,
past here and then start here.
mhm. You
Skim
can see
through
the
that.
abstract also, right? You should read the
Yeah.
abstract.
But like it just
What
summarizes, right?
happened?
It's just a summary, I guess. I mean, I think this is kind of honestly, I feel like this is a short paper.
Yep.
Probably I would just read all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Even if
is
we have, such a good, this much amount of paper, see, it will still get published.
yeah.
And trust me, our paper is more valuable than the information that is out there in these two papers combined, right? I mean, I'm not like bluffing, it's just a
It's
fact.
yeah. There's nothing currently. Well, in myositis, there isn't anything currently.
Yes. So all we are saying is, hey, RedCap has an app, which
Hmm.
many people didn't know. We
Yeah.
are building the app and we didn't know.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two.
Yeah.
The thing is, hey, there is a structure in other papers, other diseases.
Hmm.
Take that structure.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yep.
So I would want you to at least review this paper. Number one, put this in your notes. I want you to review this. See, this is our baseline, right? How much information they have given in that paper. That is our baseline. That's how much should be there.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Hmm.
Then the other thing is when it needs to be more robust, we will try to make it more robust.
Hmm.
Okay, so the additions that I would want to have in our paper is what? Number one, it has to be with respect to the software. That is like just say RedCap. It's possible the RedCap has launched the MyCap app, and then now through which you can do reliable video collection,
Yeah.
right? For research purposes. Next, if you need anything particular, then you talk about like particular disease that has to be done. Sit to stand needs to be written out. And that is something that I want you to really focus on tomorrow and present the sit to stand outline, right? See,
Okay.
I'm not looking for words like sentences, right? I need bullet points and outlines. Theme should be correct.
Yeah.
Right? So that is the note that I would want you to take. And then this is another review. It's a simple review. See, there are only three people who wrote it. So it's smaller, and we are only two people,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so it will get out there. It's just that, hey, we need to make sure that we are okay with the one. Yep. So that's the go back to our review. Yep. Then you let's highlight the other ones.
Then it was long-term planning.
Mm-hmm.
So this is digital tools facilitating long-term disease management and future planning, supporting patients in setting and tracking healthcare goals.
There is one IMAX,
The
working
IMAX.
group. Yeah, the IMAX core set measures, right? The IMAX group has working committees for each of these. And I'm on the working committee for patient reported outcome. So I was telling them they are making it and they were like, hey, we are a small group. Like you need to,
Hmm.
we can't give you all the questionnaires that you can
Yeah.
go and upload. You make it and give it to us. I was like, hey, can you please code this questionnaire so that I can import it from the library? They have coded few questionnaires.
Yeah.
Okay, coming back. So wait, we were going to highlight the sections, right, that you're going to incorporate.
Oh, yeah. Me.
I would put it in a different color because it is not
Doing
as relevant, but only some aspect should go into it.
Oh, that's wrong thing. Wait, so let me make this one green too then. There's like just there's one aspect of this that is relevant.
Yes.
I think these three were the main ones that we thought were pretty much like mostly relevant. And
Mm-hmm.
long-term planning, this is main point. Uh, you can track the progression of the disease over time.
Mm-hmm. So rather than that point, right? Okay, go to their long-term planning para. See, here is where I would put about the registries, right? Like how this data is going to be helpful when it comes to the registries. Think about it. Let's say I create a data set of patients,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then today, last year it was that software. That was the only software available for them. Hey, what can you do? And
Mm-hmm.
because they made that data set available, I could test new software,
Yeah.
right? And that's how we'll build our registry. Okay, I would look at how
Mhm.
many registries are out there. See, this is not, I don't want you to do it. If I were
Oh,
doing it, I'll tell you what I would do. I would look at how many countries have registries for myositis. Okay, this IMAX should have the data for this.
yeah.
And then I would say that, hey, if I enable video collection through RedCap as a feature, and I tell them this is how you do it, right? All of these registries will be able to collect data about the physiology of the patient standing up
Mm-hmm.
and sitting down. And then what's going to happen next? Today, I'm able to only count the number of times the patient is able to sit and stand up. Tomorrow, someone else can come up with better technology and identify more characteristics, right? Maybe they'll say that, hey, does the rate of standing up impact the disease progression, correlate with disease progression?
Mm-hmm.
So when you say long-term planning, that's what I meant by saving this as a data set for other people to do further research in. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Again, I would keep it in green because we are not we are not taking like their
Yeah.
aspect, we are changing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I will let's get you to make these changes first. And other discuss about the other parts before I tell you what to do.
Like limitations?
Yeah, any other thing that you're including in that you found relevant?
Oh, yeah. I mean, let me go over this again.
You skipped over limitations.
Yeah, I was just like trying to see whatever else. Accessibility, yeah, I think that's like it's a good point. I'm probably gonna make that like okay, wrong thing. Green because ours is more our paper is more centered towards clinicians and accessibility is more geared towards patients, but it's still a good point to make if it'll be like if I was a clinician reading this, like, oh, my patient's accessible. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
The let's hold on, right? Hold to your thought. There are still hospitals which don't have red cap.
Yeah.
So that is still an accessibility issue, right?
Then that should be mentioned.
Yes. The
Uh,
when it comes to digital literacy, it's multi-language. And also, see, the other part of accessibility is there are
okay.
going to be some patients who don't use phones.
Hmm.
So in that case, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So that will be a limitation, is it not?
Yeah.
So accessibility is still a limitation. Digital literacy, if they have a phone, they know how to use it. They can click, right?
Yeah.
My friend was telling, so he's a product manager and he builds like, he manages people who build apps. So he
Hmm.
was like, Kaushik, what you're not understanding is people, you should not give options. Whatever you tell them that this is the only way to do it. They will do it only that way. In a screen, you should not have three buttons for three different options. There should be only
Hmm.
one button to go next.
Yeah.
So that's what then in that case, digital literacy will it be a concern? It is
No.
to a certain extent, but only if it's not
Like,
in their language, right? And
hmm.
that is very rare that they don't even know
Yeah.
how to read.
There's options now, and I think a lot
Yep,
of people they can read the basics even if they can't.
yep, yep. The next part, data privacy and security. If they
Mhm.
have red cap, that's not going to be an issue. If they're using mobile apps, there is a risk.
Yeah, I think probably also green. Something that can be mentioned, but it's not
Yep.
a whole point.
Yeah, and
Integration,
yeah, go ahead.
I think this could be yellow. 'Cause I feel like
Mhm.
because there's probably going to be people out there saying, what we're doing now works, it's fine, but
Not only that, right? Okay, think
they just
about
don't
it
want.
this way. Let's say the patient, there are two ways, right, to integrate. You either write in the records that the
Mhm,
patient is having, or the patient themselves have it on their phone,
mhm,
right? So every time they come, they show the chart to the physician and says that, hey, this is how I'm performing, right? So that is one side of technology, right? The other side is, hey, I can just directly tag this information into my EMR. That can be done, and there are frameworks to do it. So
mhm.
you can integrate it. Will they is a question mark, but can they is yes. Like there are Epic has integrated AI into patient summaries, right? So, anyways, that's the other aspect. Then evidence gap is an evidence gap, right? That's okay. It's just like projections in another disease, and we don't know in myositis.
Yeah,
That is relevant. That is our limitation.
yeah.
But hey, it's an opinion, it's a paper where we are writing about possibilities, but these are going to be, some limitations.
Mhm.
So how my mentor tells me is write limitations first and end on positive note.
Yeah.
Remember? And discussion, we'll go over it tomorrow. And I would say, incorporate the yellows into at least incorporate the yellows tomorrow into your outline and work on the sit to stand. And I'm not asking you to work on the red cap thing because I'll review it and then I'll let you know. So tomorrow I want you to mainly present about the sit to stand first, like how they have described it in that paper, and then in a table format what it is for arthritis versus what it is for myositis.
Mm, my, this is the paper on which it's like the Stanford one, right? Where they have the
Yeah.
app or they have the okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just take certain points from that. I don't want you to write sentences, write bullet points, and then map out the differences between the two.
Okay.
Okay. And that will give you a very good idea and framework regarding how they wrote about the sit to stand. See, what I'm asking you to do is take all the knowledge that they have put. At least
Mhm,
they have a summary. Take that summary and make that into bullet points and say how it can apply to myositis.
mhm,
Make sense? And update or keep working on the draft. That would be good.
mhm.
Read the paper, this digital health and self-management. That's not a big paper. Read
Yeah.
that. That is the second priority, I would say.
Mhm.
Okay? Does that sound
Sounds
good?
good. Yep.
Any questions? So can you tell me what you thought of today, how it went?
I thought it was good. I think I like how it's like, I'm showing you what I did. I'm getting the feedback. I'll apply the feedback. I think it's gotten to the point where it's not like compared to the beginning, it's more of you explaining to me how everything works, and now I kind of know how it works, so I like how I'm actually able to do things. I feel fulfilled.
That's, this is the best feedback I've gotten. I feel fulfilled. Okay, got it. Sounds great. Bye.
Yeah, bye, see you tomorrow.
Mhm.